explain.
Okay, so this is going to go right back to the Cain and Abel story, right? And Cain was the industrial, he was the farmer, and Abel was the sheep herder. So since we're in a new era, right? This is how, because the story was told many times, right? The era that we live in after the Ice Age, we had to explain that if we're sheep herders, we would die because the winters are going to get longer, and we need to farm the land and save the crops for longer winters. So Cain killed Abel. And you know what? You know what's crazy about that story? If Abel is the only one that can actually give a lamb for sacrifice, what the fuck was Abel going to do? He's a farmer. What was he going to give?
So, yes, that is a good way to say it. I've got to go soon, but let me just say, if you don't want to use Cain and Abel, because that's all a metaphor based on biblical references, stories of this people, Cain and Abel.
Exactly. That's why I'm using the metaphor.
That's good.
Anyone go into a big explanation.
But of course, the truth of what you're saying is that the industrialized people, the Cains of the world, they did, for the vast majority, for the most part, they killed the indigenous people, the Abels of the world. Cain, the city maker, has destroyed Abel, the loincloth wearer. And if you ask me, would you rather live in New York City and be depressed and take an antidepressant, or would you rather wear a loincloth and have an orgy while on mescaline? I would rather have a loincloth mescaline orgy.
Yes,
thank you.
too.
With that, I'd like to pass it to Vicente.
I would like to have the orgy too.
I'd like an orgy.
No, did Cain kill Abel or did Abel kill Cain? The thing is, repentance. Whoever killed who, they never repented. If they would have repented, it would have changed history forever. Additionally, when Moses went before Pharaoh and cast his, rod that turned into a serpent, if Moses would have only have said, you know what, Moses, come on into my office. This is some amazing magic. Let's actually incorporate you into our government and all your people. The history of the Jews would never have happened. Hello?
Stop being wrong. You have to stop being wrong. Okay? So because of the sin of Adam, because no one repented for Adam. Hello? Cain killed Abel. And then the burnt offering started. So, hello? You're reading the Quran too much, buddy. Get back to the roots.
No, I was watching Cecil. B. DeMille's 10 Commandments with Charlton Heston. And, if Israel was founded in 46, the 10 Commandments came out 10 years later. 10, not 11, 10, not 9. Listen, Cecil B. DeMille's 10 Commandments is the greatest propaganda film for the state of Israel ever. It's just genius. Like, obviously, it's not just about Moses. It's actually a propaganda film for the state of Israel.
Well, when I first met you, you were like 100% an Israeli Jew. Like, what happened to you now? What's wrong with you?
You're not Jewish no more?
You're not Jewish no more?
We're going to Shalom. Let me put on my tefillin and my tachlis.
His father is Jewish and his mother is gorgeous. Jesus. Yeah,
I'm technically a Mishling according to the Nuremberg laws, and I think
to Israel you're a Jew.
No, I think a patrilineal Jewish state is what's required here in the northeastern or northwestern part of Gaza. I call it JPAMK, the Jewish Patrilineal Ashkenazic Mishling Kingdom. And I think that it's a great place for, a layover between America and Iran in JPAMK. No need to go to what they call Palestine. Just come to JPAMK, because patrilineal Jews are the actual Jews, the real Jews, not these matrilineal Jews. That's a bad rabbinic ruling. that was an incorrect and inaccurate rabbinic determination. It's really the matrilineal Jews that are the real Yiddishkeit.
Alright, so you know what I was thinking about? Because we were talking about marriage the other morning, on how like marriage is not like official. Like when you go to Israel, you got to do like CCD classes to get the fucking, to get the license or whatever. I was thinking about recording and making a YouTube and kicking off my YouTube career with making pretend that I bought tickets to Israel, right? Because I have the passport, and I want to tell my wife that I want to have a real Jewish wedding in Israel and be like, like do the whole thing, and then like giving her like the face, like I really want to do it, and like just hearing her freak the fuck out. Like I want to record her freak the fuck out. I'm not going to Israel, no fucking way. Don't tell me you used your credit card for this shit. Oh my god, it'll be fucking. Oh my god. Last. I told him, like, yo, baby, I got a good place. I only spent $15,000. 15? What? Oh my god, I would love it.
Well, I recently went to a job interview and they said, John, we really like you. We think you're really cool and you're a great fit for the role, but we looked at your YouTube and we saw you having these conversations with some other guy who's working all day talking to Muslims about the Bible and Quran. What's up with that?
Bro, most of the shit that you have me recorded on got flagged because I'm too controversial.
No, you're not even close. No, I can go to other rooms and they're actually talking about murder and drug deals and raping people and the worst of the worst. This app actually has real gargoyle vampire demons on it. This is actually one of the holiest rooms on Clownhouse. No, you could call it like inner city bubonic plague rooms. Young YN rooms, basically.
You got women out here turning tricks in here.
Yeah, there are prostitutes on the set.
I seen 3 black girls turning tricks in a room. It's fucking chicken. They were showing all sorts of shit on their pictures.
Not Smilers. Is that a picture of Epstein?
I was thinking about setting up a.
Is he reading the Quran?
If you do
I think I might do an OnlyFans expecting $1.
send me a link.
There are girls that don't even publish nudies on OnlyFans, and they've made millions. And they don't even publish nudies. Millions.
That's crazy. Shows how thirsty men are.
No, it just shows you that content is what's in demand. But just looking at a pair of ass and tits isn't going to improve your life in the slightest. It takes time away from what you could improve on. It's called opportunity cost. And I keep talking about that on this app, that I believe that it's the 1530 rule. Oh, okay, go ahead, Smile.
I'm sorry. It's just going to be quick, probably. So, make sure you know how the Muslims will use the verse about Kedar. That's a prophecy of Muhammad. Yeah, when that's clearly a Jesus. But yeah, keep going. Yeah, so read this. Listen to this. I'm going to read this. This is Psalms 120. It says, I call on the Lord in my distress, and he answers me. Save me, Lord, from lying lips and from deceitful tongues. What will he do to you, and what more besides you, deceitful tongue? Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. He will punish you with a warrior's sharp arrow, with burning coals of the broom bush. Woe to me that I dwell in Meshech, that I live amongst the tents of Kedar. Too long have I lived among those who hate peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. So Islam is also so if Kedar is Muhammad's whole situation, then I mean that's pretty spot on. Among those who he lives among those who hate peace, and the Muslims definitely hate peace. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I was listening to the book of Psalms today, and I'm like, what the hell? It's crazy.
See, we look at Islam through a polarized lens because all we see is the polarized percentage, but there's a lot of just, normal Muslims who aren't ultra religious or fanatic politically. But that's normal distribution curve with any population. And so.
The only problem with those people is they don't speak. Hold on. We got a Baba on stage. What's up, Baba? What do you got? Baba Wing. What's up? What do you got?
Assalamu alaikum.
Baba, what do you got, Baba? Alright, if you don't talk, I'm just gonna kick you the fuck out of here. Going once.
Baba to the
Alright, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give him a little grace. I'm gonna give him like a mini grace. Yeah, maybe. Can you do me a favor, Daniel? Any Muslims that come in here, instantly kick them. Ask them to come up, invite them up. If they don't come up, you just kick them. That's it. All right, Daniel? Those are the rules.
Hello.
Yeah, what's up, brother? What do you got?
What is it? Who do?
Are you a Sikh? Are you a Sikh? Are you a Sikh?
No. I am Muslim.
Oh, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Why?
Wait. I was about to kick him out. What happened, Smiler? You want to talk to this guy? What do you want to talk to this guy for?
Why?
I don't know who we talking to today. All right, so listen. All right, these are the rules. If he insults, if he just hints at an insult to my religion, I'm kicking you the fuck out of here.
What is your religion?
Okay? Yeah, see, you don't even know. So ask all the questions that you got. Ask all the
I
questions.
don't know what is his religion.
You're on a flying threat. You're hanging on a flying threat. Hindu.
He's a Hindu?
Was Jesse Jackson Jr. a Muslim?
What is that like? I don't know, like.
Alright, that's it. You said that's it. That's it.
Hey, wallah.
I wanted the
He
Quran.
said, what's that? No, he said, what's that? I took that as an insult.
Hey, wallah.
Let's just get the Quran verse. We're raising up the bar here. Listen, Smiler, we're raising up the stock here. We're doing Bitcoin, okay? And let me tell you something, okay? Our stock, we have lessened our stock. What we have done is we've sold too many stocks, and now it's shit. So what we gotta do is we gotta raise the stock. Now we gotta stop making. We're doing a stock buyback. Yes, exactly. So what we're doing is we're gonna stop making material, and we're just gonna whatever material's out there, it's just gonna raise itself. You understand? Okay, can I get remember? Who's this guy, Andy? Hold on a second. Who's this guy? Verse of the day. This guy. Oh, see, he left. See, he knows. They leave. Yeah, no, they leave. It's better. It's better that they leave on their own. I just want a Quran verse of the day. Who's this guy? Nude.
Oh, you're gonna love Mood.
Okay, all right, he's cool. All right, he's fine.
Mood is a former Palestinian terrorist who detonated a bomb in Nablus.
No, it's not.
Oh, he's not?
If he comes up
You
here,
don't
right
leave.
Right now, I'm not hinting that he's a Muslim. But if I get the inkling that he's a Muslim, he's gone. He's not. I'm going full jihad. I'm turning back.
Well, some of us have to read books for a living. So, gentlemen, I've got to leave and start reading my book for the day.
Go read. Go do the book. Go up there. All right. Thank you. Go read the Bible.
It's incredible to be able to actually have the time to read a book. It's unbelievable. So difficult to get to the financial point in your life where at noon for like the next 6 hours you could just read a book, smoke weed, and have a cocktail all day. I mean, it's like miracle. Ribono shalom. Hashem, God, Jesus Christ is looking down on us right now saying, what are you going to do with your day? How are you going to spend your time? What are you going to say? What are you going to hear? Mr. Scumberg, Dr. Scumberg up there next to the IKEA outlet. Let's just say that Scumberg is not the coolest suburb in the world, but it's not that bad. Hello?
Hello? You know this nigga, please, baby. Listen, that stuff on here. Don't keep it really simple.
It's all day Bible quarter. I've also been reading The Art of Worldly Wisdom. So not many people know who Baltasar Gracian is, but he's a famous Jesuit priest.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Actually, thank you for doing that.
Megatron, what do you think about the Jesuits, Megatron?
We gotta turn you down just a little bit.
Yeah. A Jesuit? I don't know what Jesuits are.
It's a Catholic
I
order.
know what conversation you were listening to. You were listening to Converse. Conspiracy theories. You were just listening to Converse talk about his middle knowledge of God and shut the fuck up.
No, but I've been reading a book called The Art of Worldly Wisdom, and what's interesting about it is I was reading the Quran, and then I was like, you know what? After they said that they sent Jesus, I was like, fuck this book. So I put this.
Wait. What verse is that? Who sent Jesus?
They sent Jesus. That's what they claim in the Quran. They took the editorial vein. I don't understand it, but it makes a huge leap and a jump out of nowhere in the and it's halfway through. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is an all or nothing statement saying that they're the new in group and Christians are the out group. In one giant statement, they make a huge claim. It's unbelievable. Yeah, they sent Jesus. I was like, they? They became they? Who they? That's what I'm saying. Who they?
Alright, let's get the Islamophobic pictures up.
Also, don't forget Muhammad with the Mo. His other name is Abdul. And that's like saying there's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde to Muhammad. You know, he's got AKA names. He's got, Abdul. Have you met Abdul? Muhammad's evil brother? Hello?
Oh my God, John. Oh man.
Bro, what do you want? 12 o'clock fucking medicine, bro?
Yeah, man, I just had a cup of coffee. Hello? Hello?
He's been smoking his weed. That's no man. I guarantee the guy.
I just heard you're banned from,
Is this Joanna, the Jew?
oh my God, John Lee's room. I heard you're banned from John Lee's room, Daniel. I cracked up for half an hour. Was that funny?
It's fucking hilarious, dude.
Listen, John Lee is busy charging the batteries on his RV and putting together egg sandwiches
They
for
got
people.
stolen.
Oh no!
I think he's the biggest liar ever. No.
I sent him $100.
Anyway, I just told him that he needs a license to serve the homeless food, you know? What if they get sick on the food? He doesn't have a license.
Oh, Joanna, relax. You can give food to anybody. Who cares about that license shit when you're homeless?
I tried to start a food business for fruits and we got stopped.
Yeah, well,
You can't just give food.
that's a business. When we're talking about just giving food to other homeless bums that live on your street.
Can I just get in here? I'll be like 10 seconds, like always.
Thank you.
Actually, it's not worth it. Go ahead.
How's your book sales coming along, Joanna? Are we going to co-publish a book?
Yeah, this is my new book. I have the picture up here.
What's it called?
The Raven and the Rabbit.
What the fuck?
It's in my PTR.
Yikes. We need to like, Joanna, we need to come up with some titles like how to start a clubhouse podcasting business. Shit like that. You know, we need you to go across these clubhouse streets, go into these rooms and start promoting how to start a successful clubhouse business and like publish that book on Amazon. See
Okay.
if we can't do, a couple thousand in sales this month.
Clubhouse business.
Yeah, who cares? Just use the word Clubhouse in the name of the book. Don't worry about the copyright infringement.
Right.
This app is owned by Reed Hoffman, a faggot in the Epstein
What's
files.
the contact?
Pedophile from the Epstein files. Don't worry about this app. It's garbage.
What do you want me to write about?
Reed Hoffman and how he's a fucking pedo. We'll claim that you can get rich on Clubhouse.
And don't center yourself, please.
Anyway, Daniel, there's people that are blocked.
What?
Dude, it's big people that are blocked. That's why it's funny. P. Mars, Tom Rabbit, and you. Is that fucking hysterical, bro? And he just said it in his calm voice. He's like, I can't allow Daniel Nero on stage. Oh my god, I couldn't take it.
You're cruel, Joanna. This poor guy's homeless. His batteries got stolen.
I don't know. He's selecting who he's gonna interact with. Give him a fucking break. This guy's he's an absolute nutter.
Yeah.
In the same category as
He's a
P. Mars.
YouTuber now, though.
Come on.
I'm his #1 YouTube subscriber, guys. And you guys don't even have a YouTube channel yet.
I'm done with a little less.
I will. I'm going to actually leave. But I just want to say that Megatron needs a YouTube channel. Hello?
Less is more, though. You ever?
No, I do have to go. I do have to go.
You know, like a toe, a big toe thumb.
Big toe thumb? No, I got a
John
big.
gets real sensitive when we talk about baldness. He's bald.
I got some cool hats. Don't you know that Caesar covered up his baldness with laurels? I am covering up my baldness with laurels too. It's not about what you say you are. It's about what you do. I'm a candidate for Congress, guys.
I don't think you. So, where's the Wells Fargo around here? Oh, goodness. You didn't do that?
Well, you can text me that you're good.
Text it. You don't have time to do anything right now. What do you think I'm going to do? Like, do 3 things and then Google? You never informed me. You never informed me. What? The seat? It's packed. What do you think? Listen, I'm not trying. Listen. Yeah.
So you never.
I'll have to talk to her. Wait. I'm online right now. I'm doing my ministry right now. Just to let you know. Okay? That's why I'm doing a lot of things. I had to leave food with Miguel. This seat was completely full like this. If I didn't leave it, I almost left.
Where's the Wells?
Well, the Bank of America is just 1 block away from here.
Well, like said,
Well, this is 1 block. Let me see the map. I'm gonna go to Bank of America first, not Wells. It's ridiculous. We have to go to both places, but whatever.
John Lee's girlfriend just told him to stop talking.
You never set up your PIN number for your pet?
no, I don't. You guys like cards.
I know. Neither do I, but I still set it up for that moment. I know. Listen, sometimes I have a credit card for years, but I set up the PIN number immediately, and that time that I need it many years later, I don't have to deal with
It's such a John Lee thing to say.
I already set it up.
That is such a John Lee thing to say to talk about the PIN number. Oh my God.
Okay.
This is one homeless person talking to another homeless person.
The ATM PIN you set up at the bank when you make your account. Credit card doesn't work that way. Anyway.
Yeah, John Lee's upset. He's got to explain how to use a debit card versus credit. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got to say that, John Lee's ministry really is for fools. You have to be in on the inside joke that you're listening to, a tard. And that's okay. But Barth here and Daniel here are cultivators of exquisite conversations and debate. And actually, I consider Megatron technically to be a subject matter expert in the same way that Augustus is a UFO expert. It's because you spend so much time actually really talking to... Look at the title! How bald is John? I gotta vote. Totally bald! Oh my God. He's totally bald. Totally. All right, everybody. Well, have a great day. I hope you guys have. And I am gonna actually set up a new recording studio and record. Put this all on YouTube. It's already a lot of it is on YouTube, but
I like him.
he kicked me from all the rooms. Oh shit. Get up in here we go.
So anyway, so I'm thinking about setting up at OnlyFans. What shall I sell on there?
When you're opening an OnlyFans,
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna make some dollar, man.
Okay, so Bruno Mars he has a Puerto Rican / Jewish father
It's
and
Filipino.
a Filipino mother. Yeah.
Let's go.
I think he's at least Filipino and white. Right, Filipino and white.
He got a lot of money.
yeah, we're gonna have to get you some latex, some whips. But you gotta play the part like
all that stuff, Christian behavior. Nothing's wrong with belief about paternity, but in time, they'll be corrected.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
And
Okay, everybody, this is Baltasar.
Please stand to your feet as we receive a champion for justice, our United States Senator. Wait, which one? Which one is it? Oh, it's the full Atlantis. It's 30 minutes. This was 10 days ago. To Elise Wade. Any comments on that?
Okay, this is Baltasar Gracian, Art of Wisdom.
And excellent things, if only to console itself like lightning. Censure strikes the highest places. So let our holy times pretend that your intelligence or courage, though not your prudence, has committed some act of itself like lightning. Sancho strikes the highest places, so let Homer know the time.
This is Baltasar Gracian, read by John Kitover. A stomach for big helpings of fortune. The body of prudence should have a big gullet. A great talent is made up of great parts. If you deserve the best luck, don't eat your fill of good luck. What is sure fit to some is hunger to others. Some people waste exquisite food because they have no stomach for it. They weren't born for and aren't accustomed to high occupations. Their relations with others turn to vinegar, and a false sense of honor clouds their head and makes them lose it. They grow dizzy in high places and are beside themselves because there is no room in them for luck. Let the great person show that he still has room for better things, and carefully avoid all that would show a narrow heart. To each the dignity that befits him. Not everyone is a king, but your deeds should be worthy of one, within the limits of your class and condition. A regal way of doing things, sublimity of action, a lofty mind. You should resemble a king in merit, if not in reality. For true sovereignty lies in integrity. You won't envy greatness if you yourself can be a norm of greatness. Especially those who are near the throne should acquire something of true superiority. They should share the moral gifts of majesty rather than the pomp, and aspire to things lofty and substantial rather than to imperfect vanity. Have a good sense of what each job requires. Jobs vary, and it takes knowledge and discernment to understand the variety. Some jobs take courage, others subtlety. The easiest ones are those that depend on honesty, most difficult those that require artifice. The former require only natural talent, the latter, all sorts of attentiveness and vigilance. It is much work to govern men, and even more, fools and madmen. It takes double intelligence to rule those who have none. The job that is unbearable is the one that takes over the whole person, working full time always in the same manner. Far better are the jobs we don't grow bored with, where variety combines with importance and refreshes our taste. The jobs most respected are the ones that entail the most or least dependence, and the worst are those that make us sweat the hardest, both here and even harder in the hereafter. Bull Rush, Power Rush. What'd you say? Don't be tiresome. Don't have only one theme, one obsession. Brevity is pleasant and flattering, and it gets more done. It gains in courtesy what it loses in curtness. Good things, if brief, twice good. Badness, if short, isn't so bad. Quintessences work better than farragos. Everyone knows that a tall person is rarely an intelligent one, but it's better to be tall in stature than long in conversation. Some people are better at disturbing than adorning the universe. Useless trinkets shunned by all. The discreet person should avoid tiring others, especially the great or very busy. It would be worse to irritate one of them than the rest of the world. Well said is quickly said. Don't flaunt your good fortune. It is more offensive to take excessive pride in your high office than in yourself. Don't play the great man. It is odious. And don't be proud of being envied. The more strenuously you seek esteem from others, the less of it you will have. It depends on respect. You can't simply grab it. You have to deserve it and wait for it. Important occupations call for a certain gravity and decorum. Keep only what the occupation requires, which is to fulfill your obligations. Don't squeeze it dry. Help it along. Those who want to look like hard workers give the impression that they aren't up to their jobs. If you want to succeed, do so using your gifts, not your outer trappings. Even a king ought to be venerated more because of his person than because of his pomp and circumstance. Don't look self-satisfied. Don't go through life feeling discontent with yourself, which is timidity, or satisfied, which is foolishness. Self-complacency usually arises from ignorance, and it leads to a foolish happiness. It tickles the taste but ruins the reputation. Unable to discern the high perfection of others, it is content with its own vulgar mediocrity. Caution is always useful, either to help things turn out well or to console us when they turn out badly. No setback will surprise you if you fear it beforehand. Homer himself nodded at times, and Alexander tumbled from his estate and from the deceit in which he was living. Things depend on circumstance. Sometimes they prevail, sometimes fail. For a hopeless fool, however, the emptiest satisfaction turns into a flower that goes on scattering its seed. A shortcut to becoming a true person. Put the right people beside you. The company you keep can work wonders. Customs and tastes and even intelligence are transmitted without our being aware of it. Let the quick person join the hesitant one. And so on through every sort of temperament. That way you will achieve moderation without straining after it. It takes much skill to know how to adapt yourself. The alternation of opposites makes the universe beautiful and sustains it. It causes even greater harmony in human customs than in nature. Govern yourself by this advice when you select your friends and servants. The communication of extremes will produce a discreet and golden mean. Don't berate others. There are people with savage tempers who make everything a crime. Not out of passion, but because of their very character. They condemn everyone. Some for what they've done, others for what they will do. This shows a spirit worse than cruel, which is truly vile. They criticize others so exaggeratedly that they make motes into beams in order to poke out eyes. They are taskmasters who can turn a paradise into a prison. When swayed by passion, they take everything to extremes. Good-natured people are able to pardon anything. They insist that others had good intentions or went wrong inadvertently. Don't wait to be a setting sun. It is a maxim of prudent people to abandon things before being abandoned by them. You should make even your end into a triumph. At times the sun itself retires behind a cloud, so that no one will see it fall, and it leaves us wondering whether it has set or not. Avoid sunsets so as not to burst with misfortune. Don't wait for people to turn their shoulders on you. They will bury you alive to your regret, dead or renown. The prudent know when to retire a racehorse, and do not wait for him to collapse in the middle of the race. To the laughter of all, let beauty shatter the mirror cleverly, at the right time and not too late when she cannot bear the truth. Have friends. They are a second being to a friend. All friends are good and wise. When you are with them, all turns out well. You are worth as much as others want you to be and say you are. And the way to their mouths lies through their hearts. Nothing bewitches like service to others. The best way to win friends is to act like one. The most and best we have depends on others. You must live either with friends or with enemies. Win one each day, if not as a confidant, at least as a follower. Choose well, and some will remain whom you can trust. Win the goodwill of others, even the first, highest cause. Subnote the divinity. In the most important matters does things this way. Reputation is purchased with affection. Some trust so much in their own word that they make light of diligence. A prudent person knows very well that merit can take a shortcut if helped by favor. Benevolence makes everything easier and compensates for whatever is lacking: courage, integrity, wisdom, and even discretion. It never sees ugliness, for it doesn't want to. It is usually born from similarity of temperament, race, family, country, or occupation. In the spiritual realm, benevolence bestows talent, favor, reputation, and merit. Once one wins it, this is difficult. It is easily kept. You can make an effort to win it, but you must also know how to use it. Plan for bad fortune while your fortune is good. In the summer, it is wise to provide for winter. It is easier to do so. Favors are less expensive, and friendships abound. It is good to save up for a rainy day. Adversity is expensive and all is lacking. Keep a following of friends and grateful people. Someday you will value what now seems unimportant. Villainy has no friends in prosperity because it refuses to recognize them. In adversity, it is the other way around. Never compete. When you vie with your opponent, your reputation suffers. Your competitor will immediately try to find your faults and discredit you. Few wage war fairly. Rivalry discovers the defects that courtesy overlooks. Many people had a good reputation until they acquired rivals. The heat of opposition revives dead infamies and digs up the stench of past. Competition begins by revealing faults. Rivals take advantage of everything they can and all they ought not to. Often they gain nothing by offending others, only the vile satisfaction of revenge. Revenge blows the dust of oblivion from people's faults. Benevolence was always peaceable and reputation indulgent.
Trace the lines on a page that's worn and bent, marginalia from another time, little notes of what they meant, coffee stains on chapter 10, you say someone cried right here, all these quiet, folded corners, holding. Teach me the wisdom of books.
he hadn't even got to the egos just yet. Wasn't just there yet, right? The nigga OG Mac will come with bitch, you guessed it, right after Tuesday by recording.
You trace the lines on a page that's worn and bent, marginalia from another time, little notes of what they meant. Coffee stains on chapter 10, you say someone cried right here. All these quiet, folded corners hold the years. Teach me the wisdom of books, the intelligence of love. Reads between the lines, where the ink is love. You say the brightest minds still have so much to learn. So turn that fragile page and let my stubborn heart turn with you. Oh, with you. Quote a line about patience, about grace. Then you stop and start to smile with that softness in your face. You can memorize the fear, you still not know its soul. Then you press your thumb to mine, and it feels like coming home. Teach me the wisdom of books, the intelligence of.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to switch up books from Baltasar Gracian, The Art of Worldly Wisdom. We're going to move on to working on Eliphas Levi's Secret Keys book, Secret Wisdom of Eliphas Levi, Kabbalah, Jesus Christ. Number 19. It is the number of light. It is the existence of God proved by the very idea of God. The one must say that being is the universal tomb where, by an automatic movement, stirs a form forever dead and corpse-like, or one must admit the absolute principle of intelligence and of life. Is the universal light dead or alive? It is vowed fatally to the work of destruction, or providentially directed to an immortal birth. If there be no God, intelligence is only a deception, for it fails to be the absolute, and its ideal is a lie. Without God, being is a nothingness affirming itself, life a death in disguise, and light a night forever deceived by the mirage of dreams. The first and most essential act of faith is then this: being exists, and the being of beings, the truth of being, is God. Being is alive with intelligence, and the living intelligence of absolute being is God. Light is real and life-giving. Now, the reality and life of all light is God. The word of universal reason is an affirmation and not a negation. How blind are they who do not see that physical light is nothing but the instrument of thought? Thought alone then reveals light and creates it in using it for its own purposes. The affirmation of atheism is the dogma of eternal night. The affirmation of God is the dogma of light. We stop here at the number 19. Although the sacred alphabet has 22 letters, but the first 19 are the keys of occult theology. The others are the keys of nature. We shall return to them in the third part of this work. Let us resume what we have said concerning God by quoting a fine indication borrowed from the Jewish liturgy. It is a page from the Kabbalistic poem Kether Malkuth by Rabbi Solomon, son of Gabriel. Thou art one, the beginning of all numbers, and the foundation of all buildings. Thou art one, and in the secret of thy unity the most wise of men are lost, because they know it not. Thou art one, and thy unity neither wanes nor waxes, neither suffers any change. Thou art one, and yet not the one of the mathematician, for thy unity admits neither multiplication nor change nor form. Thou art one, and not one of mine. Imaginations can fix a limit for thee, and give a definition of thee. Therefore I will take heed to my ways, lest I offend with my tongue. Thou art one indeed, whose excellence is so lofty, that it may in no wise fall, by no means like that one which may cease to be. Thou art the existing one. Nevertheless, the understanding and the sight of mortals cannot attain thine existence, nor place in thee the where, the how, the why. Thou art the existing one, but in thyself, since no other can exist beside thee. Thou art the existing one, before time and beyond space. Thou art indeed the existing one, and thine existence is so hidden and so deep that none can discover it or penetrate its secret. Thou art the living one, but not in fixed and known time. Thou art the living one, not by spirit or by soul, for thou art the soul of all souls. Thou art the living one, but not living with the life of mortals, that is like breath, whose end is to give food to worms. Thou art the living one, and he that can attain thy mysteries will enjoy eternal delight and live forever. Thou art great. Before thy greatness all other greatness bows, and all that is most excellent becomes imperfect. Thou art great above all imagination, and thou art exalted above all the hierarchies of heaven. Thou art great above all greatness, and thou art exalted above all praise. Thou art strong, and not one among thy creatures can do the works that thou dost, nor can his force be compared with thine. Thou art strong, and it is to thee that belongs that strength invincible, which changes not and decays never. Thou art strong by thy loving kindness. Thou dost forgive in the moment of thy most burning wrath, Thou showest thyself long suffering to sinners. Thou art strong in thy mercies, long suffering to sinners. Thou art strong in thy mercies, existing from all time, are upon all thy creatures. Thou art the eternal light, that pure souls shall see, and that the cloud of sins will hide from the eyes of sinners. Thou art the light which is hidden in this world and visible in the other, where the glory of the Lord is shone forth. Thou art sovereign, and the eyes of understanding which desire to see thee are all amazed, for they can attain but part of it, never the whole.
And forgiveness is enough. You say the bravest hearts are the first ones to return. So turn that fragile page and let my restless heart learn from you. Isn't spoken, it's how you're hearing what's unsaid. Teach me the wisdom of books and the intelligence of love. All the underlying mistakes we can rise above. I need every answer, just a place where I can go. So turn another page and let our open hearts show that we're the story being wrong. We're the story being wrong. I drew maps on the backs of receipts, tiny plans, cheap backseat. Told myself I fell with my teeth clenched tight. How to stand down every locked door like it owed me life. This is the wisdom of success. Blueprints in my blood. Every small secret test. We tools on a metal rack. They cut deep, but they keep me sharp. Keep me coming back. This is the wisdom of did what I was told. I drew maps on the backs of receipts, tiny plans in the dark of a cheap backseat. Taught myself how to fail with my teeth clenched tight. How to stare down every locked door like it owed me life. This is the wisdom of success. Blueprints in my blood. Not luck. Every scar, a secret test. Every door, a loaded slug. I built a language out of pressure. Turn all the friction into gold. This is the wisdom of success. I never did what I was told. I learned fast from the cracks in my own design. Sharp turns where I almost crossed the line. Road truths on the walls of an empty room. If they won't open up a space for you, you carve your own through stone and view. This is the wisdom of success. Blueprints in my blood. Not luck. Every scar, a secret test. Every door, a loaded slug. I built a language out of pressure. Turn all the pieces into gold. This is the wisdom of success. I never did what I was told. Just 1,000 tiny edits. Midnight questions. Wrestling with habits. I keep my doubts like tools on a metal rack. They cut deep, but they keep me sharp, keep me coming back. This is the wisdom of success. Blueprints in my blood. Not luck. Every scar, a secret test. Every door, a loaded slug. out until they barely crawl. Whisper mantras in a half voice, just enough for me to hear. One breath and another, I'm rinsing off the fear. Breathe in, let it all go, sink down. Let the heat flow, see what must be open. Let it glory, loosen it, breathe out. Let the heart slow nothing. You have to control, see what must be open. In this quiet ceremony, I begin, yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, nothing left to prove. Just a gentle move. 1, 2, 3, set his feet upon the water. Water becomes me. Breathe in, let it go, sink down. Let the heat flow, see the heart speed. Let it glory, loosen it, breathe out. Let the heart slow nothing. You have to control, see what must be open. In this quiet ceremony, I begin. Deep in, slow out, hands still, heart out, warm water on my shoulders, thoughts float into the rain, can flicker on the tires, time loosens at the brim, close eyes, count the exhales, let every shadow free a thin. One breath, then another. A sigh through my skin. Breathe in, let it all go. Sink down, let the heat flow, steam on my skin. I'm opening every little word, loosen it. Breathe out, let the heart slow. Nothing you have to control, steam on my skin. I'm opening this quiet ceremony. I begin.
Okay, we're reading from Eliphas Levi. This divine will has hollowed, designed, purified, and molded. It has ordered nothingness to open itself, being to shut up, and the world to spread itself. It has spanned the heavens and assembled with its power the tabernacle of the spheres. With the cords of its might, it has bound the curtains of the creatures of the universe, and touching with its strength the edge of the curtain of creation, has joined that which is above to that which was below. We have given to these bold Kabbalistic speculations the only form which suits them, that is, poesy, or the inspiration of the heart. Believing souls will have no need of the rational hypotheses contained in this new explanation of the figures of the Bible, but those sincere hearts, afflicted by doubt, which are tortured by 18th century criticism, will understand in reading it that even reason without faith can find in the holy book something besides stumbling blocks. If the veils with which the divine text is covered throw a great shadow is so marvelously designed by the interplay of light that it becomes the sole intelligible image of the divine ideal, incomprehensible as infinity, and indispensable as the very essence of mystery. Somebody messaged me that I know. Was like, "What's up with all the profiles, John?" I'm like, "Oh, it's called art. What'd you think you were doing on all the social media platforms?" Thou art the God of gods and all thy creatures bear witness to it. And in honor of this great name they owe thee all the worship. Thou art God, and all created beings are thy servants and thy worshippers. Thy glory is not tarnished, although men worship other gods, because their intention is to address themselves to thee. They are like blind men who wish to follow the straight road but stray. One falls into a well, the other into a ditch. All think that they are come to their desire, yet they have wearied themselves in vain. But thy servants are like men of clear sight, traveling upon the high road. Never do they stray from it, either to the right hand or the left, until they are entered into the court of the king's palace. Thou art God, who by thy Godhead sustainest all beings, and by thy unity dost bring home all creatures. Thou art God, and there is no difference between thy deity, thy unity, thy eternity, and thy existence, for all is one and the same mystery. Although names vary, all returns to the same truth. Thou art the knower, and that intelligence which is the source of life emanates from thyself. And beside thy knowledge, all the wisest men are fools. Thou art the knower, and the ancient of the ancient ones, and knowledge has ever fed from thee. Thou art the knower, and thou hast learned thy knowledge from none, nor hast acquired it but from thyself. Thou art the knower, and like a workman and an architect, thou hast taken from thy knowledge a divine will, at an appointed time to draw a being from nothing, so that the light which falls from the eyes is drawn from its own center, without any instrument or tool. This divine will has hollowed, designed, purified, and molded. It has ordered nothingness to open itself, being to shut up, and the world to spread itself. It has spanned the heavens and assembled with its power the tabernacle of the spheres. With the cords of its might, it has bound the curtains of the creatures of the universe, and touching with its strength the edge of the curtain of creation, has joined that which is above to that which is below. What up, Danny? I was just reading an interesting prayer, a Kabbalistic prayer. Very interesting. Okay, this is Article 2, Solution of the Second Problem. True religion. Religion exists in humanity like love. Like it, it is unique. Like it, it either exists or does not exist. In such and such a soul, whether one accepts it or denies it, it is in humanity. It is then in life. It is in nature itself. It is an incontestable fact of science and even of reason. True religion is that which has always existed, which exists today and will exist forever. One may say that religion is this or that. Religion is what it is. This is the true religion, and the false religions are superstitions imitated from her, borrowed from her, lying shadows of herself. One may say of religion what one says of true art. Savage attempts at painting or sculpture are the attempts of ignorance to arrive at the truth. Art proves itself by itself, is radiant with its own splendor, is unique and eternal like beauty. The true religion is beautiful, and it is by that divine character that it imposes itself on the respect of science and obtains the assent of reason. Science dare not affirm or deny those dogmatic hypotheses which are truths for faith, but it must recognize by unmistakable characters the one true religion, that is to say, that which alone merits the name of religion, in that it unites all the characters which agree with that great and universal aspiration of the human soul. One only thing, which is to all most evidently divine, is manifested in the world. It is charity. The work of true religion should be to produce, to preserve, and to spread abroad the spirit of charity. To arrive at this end, she must herself possess all the characteristics of charity in such a manner that one could define her satisfactorily in naming her organic charity. Now, what are the characteristics of charity? It is St. Paul who will tell us. Charity is patient. Patient like God, because it is eternal as He is. Suffers persecutions, never persecutes others. It is kindly and loving, calling to itself the little and not repulsing the great. It is without jealousy. Of whom and of what should it be jealous? Is it not that better part which shall not be taken away from it? It is neither quarrelsome nor intriguing. It is without pride, without ambition, without selfishness, without anger. It never thinks evil, never triumphs by injustice, for all its joy is comprehended in truth. It endures everything without ever tolerating evil, believes all. Its faith is simple, submissive, hierarchical, and universal. sustains all and never imposes burdens which it is not itself the first to carry. Religion is patient, the religion of great thinkers and of martyrs. It is benevolent, like Christ and the apostles, like Vincent de Paul, like Fenelon. It envies not either the dignities or the goods of the earth. It is the religion of the fathers of the desert, of St. Francis and of St. Bruno, of the Sisters of Charity and of the brothers of St. Jean de Dieu. It is neither quarrelsome nor intriguing. It prays, does good, and waits. It is humble, it is sweet-tempered. It inspires only devotion and sacrifice. It has, in short, all the characteristics of charity, because it is charity itself. Men, on the contrary, are impatient, persecutors, jealous, cruel, ambitious, unjust, and they show themselves as such, even in the name of that religion which they have succeeded in calumniating, but which they will never cause to lie. Men pass away, but truth is eternal. Daughter of charity and creator of charity, in her own turn, true religion is essentially that which realizes. She believes in the miracles of faith, because she herself accomplishes them every day when she practices charity. Now, a religion which practices charity may flatter herself that she realizes all the dreams of divine love. Wherever the faith of the hierarchical church transforms mysticism into realism by the efficacy of her sacraments. No more signs, no more figures whose strength is not in grace, and which do not really give what they promise. Faith animates all, makes all in some sort visible and palpable. Even the parables of Jesus Christ take a body and a soul. They show at Jerusalem the house of the wicked rich man. The thin symbolisms of the primitive religions overturned by science and deprived of the life of faith resemble those whitened bones which covered the field that Ezekiel saw in his vision. The Spirit of the Savior, the Spirit of faith, the Spirit of charity has breathed upon this dust, and all that which was dead has taken life again. So really that one recognizes no more yesterday's corpses in these living creatures of today. And why should one recognize them? Since the world is renewed, since St. Paul burned at Ephesus the books of the Hierophants, was then St. Paul a barbarian? And was he committing a crime against science? No, but he burned the winding sheets of the resuscitated that they might forget death. Why then do we today recall the Kabbalistic origins of dogma? Why do we join again the figures of the Bible to the allegories of Hermes? It is to condemn St. Paul. Is it to bring doubt to believers? No. Indeed, for believers have no need of our book. They will not read it, and they will not wish to understand it. But we wish to show to the innumerable crowd, those who doubt, that faith is attached to the reason of all the centuries, to the science of all the sages. We wish to force human liberty to respect divine authority, reason to recognize the basis of faith, so that faith and authority in their turn may never again prescribe liberty and reason.
flag, still shaking in your hand. You crave the final word, but don't know where you stand. You call these dreams to war, you call these down to shame. You will live and fight, lose your own true name. This is the prudence of a victory, knowing which battles you can leave alone. Call back your anger from the edge of your soul. That's the wisdom of a victory. defect that someone does not value, and you need not oversee sanction. As a junior officer, how did you? That's ugly. Cops like me don't involve is made up of great parts. If you deserve the best luck, don't eat your fill of good luck only to others. Some people waste exquisite food because they have no stomach for it. They run in the limits of your class and condition. They enduring things, sublimity in action. They should share the moral gifts of majesty. The former require only natural talent. The latter, all sorts of attentive but not aware. Say madness. Every rose with the 12 horses of my sin. Absolute universality. It's called for the sudden. Some trust so much in their own God that they make life with affection. Quiet room, can move. I got thoughts and let them go. Ancient pause in my chest. I follow every gentle wave and let it rest. Exhale time, breath of the sky, opening wide. I meet my mind like an orient perfect in this moment. As
pleasure fit to some is hunger to others. Some people waste exquisite food because they have no stomach for it. They weren't born for and aren't accustomed to high occupations. Their relations with others turn to vinegar, and the false sense of honor clouds their head and makes them lose it. They grow dizzy in high places and are beside themselves because there is no room in them for luck. Let the great person show that he still has room for better things, and carefully avoid all that would show a narrow heart. Hunger to others. Some people waste exquisite food because they have no stomach for it. They weren't born for and aren't accustomed to high occupations. Their relations with others turn to vinegar, and the false sense of honor clouds their head and makes them lose it. They grow dizzy in high places and are beside themselves because there is no room in them for luck. Let the great person show that he still has room for better things, and carefully avoid all that would show a narrow heart. Within the limits of your class and condition, a regal way of doing things, sublimity of action, a lofty mind, you should resemble a king in merit, if not in reality. For true sovereignty lies in integrity. You won't envy greatness if you yourself can be a norm of greatness. Especially those who are near the throne should acquire something of true superiority. They should share the moral gifts of majesty rather than the pomp, and aspire to things lofty and substantial rather than to imperfect way of doing things, sublimity of action, a lofty mind. You should resemble a king in merit, if not in reality. For true sovereignty lies in integrity. You won't envy greatness if you yourself can be a norm of greatness. Especially those who are near the throne should acquire something of true superiority. They should share the moral gifts of majesty rather than the pomp, and aspire to things lofty and substantial rather than to imperfect vanity. They should share the moral gifts of majesty rather than the pomp, and aspire to things lofty and substantial rather than to imperfect vanity. The former require only natural talent, the latter all sorts of attentiveness and vigilance. It is much work to govern men, and even more, fools, madmen. It takes double intelligence to rule those who have none. The job that is unbearable is the one that takes over the whole person, working full-time always in the same manner. Far better are the jobs we don't grow bored with, where variety combines with importance and refreshes our taste. The jobs most respected are the ones that entail the most or least dependence, and the worst are those that make us sweat the hardest, both here and even harder in the hereafter. Govern men, and even more, fools, madmen. It takes double intelligence to rule those who have none. The job that is unbearable is the one that takes over the whole person, working full-time always in the same manner. Far better are the jobs we don't grow bored with, where variety combines with importance and refreshes our taste. The jobs most respected are the ones that entail the most or least dependence, and the worst are those that make us sweat the hardest, both here and even harder in the hereafter. This is the same knows that a tall person is rarely an intelligent one, but it's better to be tall in stature than long in conversation. Some people are better at disturbing than adorning the universe. Useless trinkets shunned by all. The discreet person should avoid tiring others, especially the great or very busy. It would be worse to irritate one of them than the rest of the world. Well said is quickly said. Everyone knows that a tall person is rarely an intelligent one, but it's better to be tall in stature. Well said, as of it you will have substance. It's called for a certain gravity and living. It's called for a certain gravity and decorum. Keep only what the occupation requires, what you need to fulfill your obligations. Don't squeeze it dry. Help it along. Those who want to look like hard workers give the impression that they are up to their jobs. If you want to succeed, do so using your gifts, not your outer trappings. Even a king ought to be venerated more because of his person than because of his pomp and circumstance. Things depend on circumstance. Sometimes they prevail, sometimes fail. For a hopeless fool, however, the emptiest satisfaction turns into a flower that goes on scattering its seed. The quick person character size others so exaggeratedly that they make motes into beams in order to poke out eyes. They are taskmasters who can turn a paradise into a prison. When swayed by passion, they take everything to extremes. Good-natured people are able to pardon anything. They insist that others had good intentions or went wrong inadvertently. With affection, some trust so much in their own worth that they make light of diligence. The prudent person knows very well that merit can take shortcut if held by favor. Benevolence makes everything easier and compensates for whatever is lacking. Courage, integrity, wisdom, and even discretion. He never sees ugliness, for he doesn't want to. It is usually born from similarity in temperament, race, family, country, or occupation. In the spiritual realm, benevolence bestows talent, favor, reputation, and merit. Once one wins it, this is difficult. It is easily kept. You can make an effort to win it, but if held by family, country, or occupation, a good reputation until they acquire rivals. Satisfaction of her forever deceived by the mirage of dreams. The first and most essential act of faith is then this: being exists. And the being of beings, the truth of being, is God. Being is alive with intelligence, and the living intelligence of absolute being is God. Light is real and life-giving. Now, the reality and life of all light is God. The word of universal reason is an affirmation and not a negation. How blind are they who do not see that physical light is nothing but the instrument of thought, ever deceived by the mirage of dreams. The first and most essential act of faith is then this: being exists, and the being of beings, the truth of being, is God. Being is alive with intelligence, and the living intelligence of absolute being is God. Light is real and life-giving. Now, the reality and life of all light is God. The word of universal who do not see that physical light is nothing but the instrument of thought, ever deceived by the mirage of dreams. The first and most essential act of faith is then this: being exists, and the being of beings, the truth of being, is God. Being is alive with intelligence, and the living intelligence of absolute being is God. Light is real and life-giving. Now, the reality and life of all light is God. The word of universal reason is an affirmation and not a negation. How blind are they who do not see that physical light is nothing but the instrument of thought, ever deceived by the mirage of dreams. The first and most essential act of faith is then this: being exists, and the being of beings, the truth of being, is God. Being is alive with intelligence, and the living intelligence of absolute being is God. Light is real and life-giving. Now, the reality and life of all light is God. The word of universal reason is an affirmation and not a negation. How blind are they who do not see that physical light is nothing but the instrument of thought, ever deceived by the mirage of dreams. The first and most essential act of faith is then this: being exists, and the being of beings, the truth of being, is God. Being is alive with intelligence, and the living intelligence of absolute being is God. Light is real and life-giving. Now, the reality and life of all light is God. The word of universal reason is an affirmation and not a negation. How blind are they who do not see that physical light is nothing but the instrument of thought, ever deceived by the mirage of dreams. The first and most essential act of faith is then this: being exists, and the being of beings, the truth of being, is God. Being is alive with intelligence, and the living intelligence of absolute being is God. Light is real and life-giving. Now, the reality and life of all light is God. The word of universal reason is an affirmation and not a negation. How blind are they who do not see that physical light is nothing but the instrument of thought, ever deceived by the mirage of dreams.
Quiet tiles, dripping tap time. Fingers trace my own name in a circle on the glass. Water climbs up my shins, my spine. All the sharp little thoughts start to soften in the heat. I breathe in. Let it move, fill me. Hold it close till the ache starts leaving. I breathe out all the corners I've been keeping. In this hot bath, I am all Fingers trace my own name in a circle on the glass. Water clouds are my shins, my spine. All the sharp little thoughts start to soften in the heat. I breathe, let it blow, let it feel me. Hold it close till the ink starts leaving. I breathe out. All the corners I've been keeping in this heart. I am only this breathing. Only this breathing. Head leans back, hair flowing free. Whole room painted gold by a cheap vanilla flame. Shoulders sink deeper than the day. Every failure, every fight runs off my skin and face. I breathe, let it go, let it fill me. Hold it close till the ink starts leaving. I breathe out. All the corners I've been keeping in this heart. I am only this breathing. Only this breathing. One breath for the feel, one breath for the shake, one breath for the girl who tried anyway. Counting the steam for my distant leaves. If I could see right here, that's all I Quiet pulse in my chest like a secret. Something moves in the gaps where I breathe. Eyes closed, yet the room feels brighter. Like a word on the tip of my teeth. Hidden God in my breath, in the rise, in the rest, in the space between each thought I find you. Little flame in the dark, breathing wisdom in my heart. Every question curls back into you. unfolded, I turn in to the hush of my mind. Your voice is a silent speaking, pulling threads till my scattered cells align. Hidden God in my breath, in the rise, in the rest, in the space between each thought I find you. Little flame in the dark, breathing wisdom in my heart. Every hope calling back to you. Teach me my own name, how it lives in your echo. All my broken pieces learning how to say hello. Knowing you, I'll find myself. Knowing me, I see you too. Missing and waking light, finally moving as I hidden God in my breath, in the rise, in the rest, in the space between us, Lord, I find you. Little flame in the dark, breathing wisdom in my heart. Every hope that's in me, I am yours. Quiet pause in my chest like a secret. Something moves in the gaps where I breathe. Eyes closed, if the room feels brighter, like a word on the tip of my teeth. Hidden God in my breath, in the rise, in the rest, in the space between each thought I find you. Little flame in the dark, breathing wisdom in my heart. Every question comes back into you. Soft wind on a page I folded, I turn it to the hush of my mind. Your voice is a silent speaking, pulling threads to my scattered cells alive. Hidden God in my breath, in the rise, in the rest, in the space between us, God, I find you. Hidden God, in my breath, in the rise, in the rest, in the space between each thought, I find you. Little flame in the dark, little First, there are many and diverse conditions of life upon this earth. In all of these is some seed of sorrow. Who can escape from sickness and from old age and from death? We are come to save our fellows from these things. For there is a life intense with knowledge and extreme bliss, which is untouched by any of them. To this life we attain even here and now. The adepts, the servants of VVVVV, have attained the room tour. It is impossible to tell you of the splendors of that to which they have attained. Little by little, as your eyes grow stronger, will we unveil to you the ineffable glory of the path of the adepts and its nameless scope. Even as a man ascending a steep mountain is lost to sight of his friends in the valley, so must the adept seem. They shall say, he is lost in the clouds, but he shall rejoice in the sunlight above them and come to the eternal snows. Or as a scholar may learn some secret language of the ancients, his friends shall say, look, he pretends to read this book, but it is unintelligible. It is nonsense. Yet he delights in the Odyssey while they read vain and vulgar things. We shall bring you to absolute truth, absolute light, absolute bliss. Many adepts throughout the ages have sought to do this, but their words have been perverted by their successors, and again, the veil has fallen upon the Holy of Holies. lost his sight of his friends in the valley, so must the adept seem. They shall say, he is lost in the clouds. But he shall rejoice in the sunlight above them, and come to the eternal snows. Or as the scholar may learn some secret language of the ancients, his friends shall say, look, he pretends to read this book, but it is unintelligible. It is nonsense. Yet he delights in the Odyssey, while they read vain and vulgar things. We shall bring you to absolute truth, absolute light, absolute bliss. Many adepts throughout the ages have sought to do this, but their words have been perverted by their successors. And again, the veil has
I behold a small dark orb, wheeling in an abyss of infinite space. It is mitted among a myriad vast ones, dark amid a myriad bright ones. I who comprehend in myself all the vast and the minute, all the bright and the dark, have mitigated the brilliance of mine unutterable splendor, sending forth thee, as a ray of my light, as a messenger unto that small dark orb. Then thee, taketh up the word, and saith, men and women of the earth, to you have I come from the ages beyond the ages, from the space beyond your vision, and I bring to you these words. But they heard him not, for they were not ready to receive them. But certain men heard and understood, and through them shall this knowledge be made known. The least therefore of them, the servant of them all, writeth this book. He writeth for them that are ready. Thus is it known if one be ready, if he be endowed with certain gifts, if he be fitted by birth, or by wealth, or by intelligence, or by some other manifest sign, and the servants of the master by his insight shall judge of these. This knowledge is not for all men. Few indeed are called, but of these few many are chosen. This is the nature of the work. I behold a small dark orb, wheeling in an abyss of infinite space. It is minute among a myriad vast ones, dark amid a myriad bright ones. I who comprehend in myself all the vast fast and the minute. All the bright and the dark have mitigated the brilliance of mine unutterable splendor. Sending forth V as a ray of my light, as a messenger unto that small dark orb. Then V, take out the word and say it. Men and women of the earth, to you am I come from the ages beyond the ages, from the space beyond your vision, and I bring to you these words. But they heard him not, for they were not ready to receive them. But some men heard and understood, and through them shall this knowledge be made known. The least therefore of them, the servant of the all, writeth this book. He writeth for them that are ready. Thus is it known if one be ready, if he be endowed with certain gifts, if he be fitted by birth, or by wealth, or by intelligence, or by some other manifest sign, and the servant of the master, but his insight shall be. This knowledge is not for all men. Few indeed are called, but of these few many are chosen. This is the nature of the work.
Breathe in, breathe out, eyes closed. I count to 4, sing through the floor, silver gold, at your core, slow inhale, thoughts turn pale, you are more in the day. Hypnosis, I got in my brain, rewriting every fear I believe in. I surrender as my pattern when I escape every is mine. Hypnosis, I got in my brain, heart sinking with the pulse I'm missing. I'm listening to the shimmering sky. Hypnosis, I got it in my brain.
Okay, we're going to continue reading this incredible book by Eliphas Levi. Solution of the third problem. Faith being the rationale of the mysteries. Faith being the aspiration to the unknown. The object of faith is absolutely and necessarily this one thing: mystery. In order to formulate its aspirations, faith is forced to borrow aspirations and images from the known. But she specializes the employment of these forms by placing them together in a manner which, in the known order of things, is impossible, such as the profound reason of the apparent absurdity of symbolism. Let us give an example. If faith said that God was impersonal, one might conclude that God is only a word, or at most a thing. If it is said that God was a person, one would represent to oneself the intelligent infinite under the necessarily bounded form of an individual. It says God is one in three persons in order to express that one conceives in God both unity and multiplicity. The formula of a mystery excludes necessarily the very intelligence of that formula, so far as it is borrowed from the world of known things, for if one understood it, it would express the known and not the unknown. It would then belong to science and no longer to religion, that is to say, to faith. The object of faith is a mathematical problem whose X escapes the procedures of our algebra. Absolute mathematics prove only the necessity and in consequence the existence of this unknown which we represent as the translatable X. Now science progresses in vain. Its progress is indefinite, but always relatively finite. It will never find, in the language of the finite, the complete expression of the infinite. Mystery is therefore eternal. To bring into the logic of the known the terms of a profession of faith is to withdraw them from faith, which has for positive basis anti-logic, that is to say, the impossibility of logically explaining the unknown. For the Jew, God is separate from humanity. He does not live in his creatures. He is infinite egoism. For the Mussulman, God is a word before which one prostrates oneself on the authority of Muhammad. For the Christian, God has revealed himself in humanity, proves himself by charity, and reigns by virtue of the order which constitutes the hierarchy. The hierarchy is the guardian dogma, for whose letter and spirit she alike demands respect. The sectarians who, in the name of the reason, or rather of their individual unreason, have laid hands on dogma, have in the very act lost the spirit of charity. They have excommunicated themselves. The Catholic, that is to say the universal, dogma merits that magnificent name by harmonizing in one all the religious aspirations of the world. With Moses and Muhammad, it affirms the unity of God. With Zoroaster, Hermes, and Plato, it recognizes in him the infinite trinity of its own regeneration. It reconciles the living numbers of Pythagoras with the monadic word of St. John. So much science and reason will agree. It is then in the eyes of reason and of science themselves the most perfect, that is to say, the most complete dogma which has ever been produced in the world, that science and reason grant us so much. We shall ask nothing more of them. God exists. There is only one God, and he punishes those who do evil, said Moses. God is everywhere. He is in us, and the good that we do to men, we do it to God, said Jesus. Fear is the conclusion of the dogma of Moses. Love is the conclusion of the dogma of Jesus. The typical idea of the life of God in humanity is incarnation. Incarnation necessitates redemption and operates it in the name of the reversibility of solidarity, or in other words, of universal communion, the dogmatic principle of the spirit of charity. To substitute human arbitrament for the legitimate despotism of the law, to put in other words, tyranny in the place of authority, is the work of all Protestantism and of all democracies. What men call liberty is the sanction of illegitimate authority, or rather the fiction of power not sanctioned by authority. John Calvin. Subnote, the author had perhaps no space to continue with the demonstration that the gospel legend itself is a Macedonian of those of Bacchus, Adonis, Osiris, and 100 others, and that the Mass and Christian ceremonies generally have similarly pagan sources. This and many similar phrases employed in the controversies of the period are today practically unintelligible. Levi was at one time a kind of socialist. John Calvin protested against the stakes of Rome in order to give himself the right to burn Michael Servetus. Every people that liberates itself from a Charles I or a Louis XVI must undergo a Robespierre or a Cromwell. And there is a more or less absurd anti-pope behind all protestations against the legitimate papacy. The divinity of Jesus Christ only exists in the Catholic Church, to which he transmits hierarchically his life and his divine powers. This divinity is sacerdotal and royal by virtue of communion. But outside of that communion, every affirmation of the divinity of Jesus Christ is idolatrous, because Jesus Christ could not be an isolated God. The number of Protestants is of no importance to Catholic truth. If all men were blind, would that be a reason for denying the existence of the sun? Reason, in protesting against dogma, proves sufficiently that she has not invented it, but she is forced to admire the morality which results from that dogma. Now, if morality is a light, it follows that dogma must be a sun. Light does not come from shadows. Between the two abysses of polytheism and an absurd and ignorant theism, there is only one possible medium, the mystery of the most Holy Trinity. Between speculative theism and anthropomorphism, There is only one possible medium, the mystery of incarnation. Between a moral fatality and draconic responsibility, which would conclude the damnation of all beings, there is only one possible mean, the mystery of redemption. The Trinity is faith, the incarnation is hope, the redemption is charity, the Trinity is the hierarchy, incarnation is the divine authority of the church, redemption is the unique, infallible, unfailing, and Catholic priesthood. The Catholic Church alone possesses an invariable dogma, and by its very constitution is incapable of corrupting morality. She does not make innovations, she explains. Thus, for example, the dogma of the Immaculate Conception is not new. It was contained in the Theotokon of the Council of Ephesus, and the Theotokon is a rigorous consequence of the Catholic dogma of the Incarnation. In the same way, the Catholic Church makes no excommunications, she declares them, and she alone can declare them, because she alone is guardian of unity. Outside the vessel of Peter, there is nothing but the abyss. Protestants are like people who have thrown themselves into the water in order to escape seasickness. It is of Catholicity, such as it is constituted in the Roman Church, one must say what Voltaire so boldly said of God: if it did not exist, it would be necessary to invent it. But if a man had been capable of inventing the spirit of charity, he also would have invented God. Charity does not invent itself. It reveals itself by its works. And it is then that one can cry with the Savior of the world, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." To understand the spirit of charity is to understand all mysteries. Solution of the fourth problem. Religion proved by the objections which people oppose to it. most thing. If it is said that God was a person, one would represent to oneself the intelligent infinite under the necessary. If faith said that God was impersonal, one might conclude that God is only a word, most thing. If it is said that God was a person, one would represent to oneself the intelligent infinite under the necessarily bounded form of an individual. It says, God is one in three persons, in order to express that one conceives in God both unity and multiplicity. The formula of a mystery excludes necessarily the very intelligence of that formula, so far as it is borrowed from the world of known things, for if one understood it, it would express the known and not the unknown. It would then belong to science and no longer to religion, that is to say, to faith. It's the spirit of charity. They have excommunicated themselves. The Catholic, that is to say, the universal dogma, merits that magnificent name by harmonizing in one all the religious aspirations of the world. With Moses and Muhammad, it affirms the unity of God. With Zoroaster, Hermes, Plato, it recognizes in him the infinite trinity of its own regeneration. It reconciles the living numbers of Pythagoras with the monadic word of St. John. It's the spirit of charity. They have excommunicated themselves. The Catholic, that is to say, the universal dogma, merits that magnificent name by harmonizing in one all the religious aspects. What men call liberty is the sanction of illegitimate authority, or rather the fiction of power not sanctioned by authority. John Calvin, subnote, the author had perhaps no space to continue with the demonstration that the gospel legend itself is a Macedonian of those of Bacchus, Adonis, Osiris, and 100 others, and that the Mass in Christian ceremonies generally have similarly pagan sources. This and many similar phrases employed in the controversies of the period are today practically unintelligible. Levi was at one time a kind of socialist of incarnation between a moral fatality and draconic responsibility, which would conclude the damnation of all beings. There is only one possible mean, the mystery of redemption. The Trinity is faith, the incarnation is hope, the redemption is charity, the Trinity is the hierarchy. Incarnation is the divine authority of the Church. Redemption is the unique, infallible, unfailing, and Catholic priesthood. People who have thrown themselves into the water in order to escape seasickness. It is of Catholicity, such as it is constituted in the Roman Church. One must say what Voltaire so boldly said of God. If it did not exist, it would be necessary to invent it. But if a man had been capable of inventing the spirit of charity, he also would have invented God. Charity does not invent itself. It reveals itself by its works. And it is then that one can cry with the Savior of the world, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. To understand the spirit of charity is to a people who have thrown themselves.
Welcome back to Kitover TV, the only evening class where we mix miracles with today's lesson, how the love and intelligence of God can transform the everyday.
And you're starting with a love for.
Welcome back.
If faith said that God was impersonal,
Prince Maekar Targaryen was about woke up this morning.
people are an abomination to God.
Oh, it says the people are an abomination to God. That's
Yes.
nifty grammar you're playing with there.
That's what it says.
Repeated busing, right? People get paid their boss to be voting place. You crave final word.
Sounds like they, man.
Don't know where you stand.
Right up, folks. What's up? Kitover's Miracle.
You call it true. If faith said that God would suspend charity, liberty is the same thing as the legitimate form of college. People move through the steps of the This is the bruise of victory. No one's supposed to deliver. God doing it from the edge of your time. That's the wisdom of a victory. Quiet when you're sorry you can't shout. You lay your weapons down and still walk out. Yeah. That's the wisdom of a victory. The more information you have, the more confidence you can be with the leader.